Okay, today we're gonna do a homemade recipe. It's called Mongolian death noodles. That's what we named it. It's a beef-based udon noodle sort of based mishmash. The ingredients, now I like to use filet mignon. You can use other beef, but this is generally gonna be the best. What you can do is always wait until you find like a piece or two that are on sale. It works out so well. I use the udon stir-fried noodles from Kami or wherever. Want some beef broth, some whipped cream. Now in a pinch, if you don't have any whipping cream and you're doing this at home, you can always do some sour cream. A little doll of that will work out. Always like an onion, some pickled ginger, Thai red curry paste. This is the key, the Saf Mediterranean blend, as well as some Worcestershire from Lean Parents, and then the death part, which is Habaneros. Now we're probably only going to use one of these Habaneros today. That's because, I mean, these are gigantic. Generally we use 2 to 3, but today we're just going to probably use just one of these big guys. And I'll trim a little bit of this fat. My puppies. So then I take my awesome marinade bag, little Ziploc guy, throw this in there. Then I get a bunch of that, seal it, leave a pocket of air so I can, and that quickly coats everything. Now when you use this stuff, this is very bitter. It's extremely tasty and awesome, but unfortunately it does need bit of sugar and a little bit of salt, but with this meal you don't need too much salt because you're going to get salt seasoning from this guy, and then we're also using the Worcestershire, which is going to have its own bit of salt because, you know, it's a soy sauce sort of thing. And you want to put this in there. Leave some air so it can shake up. And get everything nice and coated. And what you want to end up with is like a kind of paste in there. Smells good. I'm going to put some more of this and then some more Worcestershire, because you want it pasty. Now this is a good solid paste, but this is the marinating bit. So we're not going to do too much. It's a go as you feel sort of dish. Work it all in. It's nice and pasty. That's the smell. You're going to end up developing an idea of the smell for this. Just go, and then after that, pull out all your air. And take this, throw it in your fridge for about 2 hours, and we'll be right back. Go and dice up our onions. You can do it any way you want. Sometimes longs are nice, you know, half moons, or dicing it up into little bits. It depends on your taste for onions, how you want it. For this, I like to do sort of the diced bits, because we do brown these first. Today I decided to do 2. 2 onions instead of 1 because generally I like to throw like a red pepper, green pepper, any other kind of vegetable in there, but I actually don't have any of those. Before I started this video. Nothing too schmancy. Fancy schmancy. A bowl of onions. Awesome. Now some ginger, which actually yeah, say small. And just take out a bit. You can use fresh ginger if you want. I'm using pickled. Alright, so you're gonna use your habanero. You're gonna go take the top off, pour it. Putting a knife through it. This is the spiciest part of the habanero. Now this is toning it down a little bit, kind of cheesing, but still it's a great tasting pepper. Like I said before, generally like we use 2 to 3 habaneros. This guy is the size of about 2. Notice the way I'm cutting it is I'm not touching the inside. That is keeping my hands from burning digits. They don't burn on themselves, but you rub your eyes, you do something, it's gonna burn. I'm just gonna dust this up. Now, one of the tricks I've learned over the years because we love habaneros, using them, is that when you're done, it's an oil that gets onto your fingers. And just going to the sink and washing your hands with soap and hot water is not gonna do the trick. And what I do is I use vinegar. I rinse my hands with vinegar, I rub them down, and then I go and then wash them with hot soap and water, and I don't have any problems. But I swear to you, you will figure this out, and sometimes not in a good way. That if you don't do this, and then the next middle of the night, you rub your eyes or something while you're sleeping, or you go to the bathroom, you're gonna get a surprise. So yeah. Wash yourself out with vinegar. The vinegar is an acid and it dilutes and pulls off the oils perfectly. So, okay, it's cook time. Taking the meat out, letting it kind of get room temperature. It doesn't matter. You can use it still cold. It's been in there marinating. Generally, filet mignon, you can just do it up and start cooking it. You don't have to marinate it for anything long, but other meats that I like to use, tri-tip works really well with this, but it's a very large piece of meat. So if you find a very small tri-tip, then cut it up, marinate it, definitely give it a few hours marinating. Also London broil, and I'll do it strip. What is the other, top sirloin actually is the #1 cheapest way to go with this. The top sirloin is the way to go. You do it in strips because it's a big piece like this. Strip it out, marinate it for about 3-4 hours, and then cook it. But step 1 is to actually go and cook your onions. And I have the, all right, so this is about ready. You can hear it. Good sound. Take a flat Mix it around, make sure that all the onions get a little bit of that olive oil. I forgot to say I put a little olive oil in the pan. Just, you know, you saw the how much I put in there. It's just a bit. You know, you don't have to put a lot. Sometimes I'll do things like, I love black pepper. I'm a black pepper fiend. Such a great taste, and it's earthy. So at this point, I like to put black pepper in, some crushed, not a free thing, fresh crushed. This just helps out. Okay, so everything's getting nice and brown. You can see some brown on the pan. This is all good. The onions are ready for the next bit, which is going to be the meat. I'm going to leave it at 8. So from a 1 to 10, that's an 8. It looks like this is a hotter pot. So I'm going to go move that a little bit. What I do is I make a little pocket. And then we're going to go and pop our meat in there. Try to get as much in there as possible. And the sauce, I mean. Nice and flat, let it sear on one side at least. Cook up, brown up. Flip it. To get a nice sear, I mean, you can take your time, or like I just threw it on high, just to go and get the liquid that was in there out, in order to go and get a good base coat on this. It's gonna burn on the pan. All that's gonna go away, and it's gonna mix in once we add in the beef broth, but again, you know, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see it burning. It's fine. It's all flavor, that's all creating flavor. Usually I have a fan on to catch these fumes. And man, it's going to be really horrible when I put in the habaneros. I don't have the fan on because, well, you guys need to hear me. Now I've turned it down to 7.5. And I'm just moving it around. Letting the onions kind of try to take up some of the burn. Might even put it down a little bit more. You'll get a feel for this. At least one side of all the meat is charred. And that's nice. That's what you want. Now once I put those habaneros in, man, you're gonna hear me coughing because all the steam is gonna come up from them. And it's a hard bit. It's a hard bit to deal with, but I'm going to add the curry now, the curry paste, the Thai curry paste. See, there's a bunch left in there. And open up your beef broth. You can even do it with water, but pour the beef broth in there. Throw back on my cap. Give it a nice shake. Now I'm gonna add the Habaneros, which is the death part. I'll let those cook in the middle. It's at like 6.5 right now. So a little medium, a high medium currently. Let those cook. I'm trying not to make this a long video. I'm gonna edit this and stuff, but oh, there it is. And I'll mix it all together. See how this is removing? This is stainless steel. That's a trick. You want to cook good, you cook on stainless. Anything that burns on there ends up becoming flavor and releasing into your meal. So now I'm gonna just a little beef broth. I'm gonna see that happening right now. All right, so the bottom of the pan is all cooked off. It's nice and clean. You can kind of see it. Added a little bit more beef broth. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Again, I like to add butter sometimes, but it depends. So this broth is important because of the next step, which is adding the noodles. And the noodles are pre-cooked and ready, but they need to still absorb and then kind of get into the whole meal. So again, this is the noodles. Now these come 2 in a pack, which is nice because you get 2. Generally, you know, with the amount of meat, this would be a 1 noodle thing. Sometimes I do 2 if I have more meat. If I used a larger sirloin or tri-tip, but I'll just go and pull this out. And the trick with these guys is you just put them in there and you let everything else do the work. So they'll get soft. If you start pushing them around, they're gonna break on you. And you don't want to break them up. You want them to be nice and long. They're nice udon noodles, and that's what you want. You know. So what happens is that the sauce cooks down, the noodles get released. I mean, you can do things like flipping them and whatnot, but just turn it down and give it some time. I'll bring it down to like 2.5 or 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. So very low. It's gonna do its thing, and we'll be back after these release. Okay, as you find out, I am a more cook-as-you-go sort of person. I don't do measurements. I just do feelings and so on and so forth. So 1 packet of noodles was not enough for this. There's enough for 2. So I'm gonna add a second packet and let that happen, because I mean, it is called Mongolian death noodles, and so we need noodles, a lot of them, in order to make it happen. Okay, so I added the second noodles. They're breaking up nice and easy. So they're looking really good. Everything's cooking down. One of the things you do not want to do is have a high heat with these noodles. They're starch-based, of course, you know, they're udon, they're wheat noodles. And then they're gonna start cooking to the bottom of the pan. burn or anything. It's just you don't have to do it. So make sure that you stir, but once they break it up, that's when you stir. So that they stay long and delicious. Part of the treat. And this is the final step, which I'm going to bring it down to 2. Need to shake it. I'm just going to shake it. Oh, there we go. Good. So, add some cream. It's really all you changes the color, and it just makes it so good. The weirdest thing, I decided to do this, but hey, it's my recipe, and that's how I did it. So, and that's it. Mix it, let it cook for a little bit more. Let everything gel and mix. Mongolian death noodle. So here we are. Taste a little bit of this. See how it goes with a little bit of meat. The noodle. Because of the flay, the meat is so tender, just melts. Honestly, the top sirloin does the same thing, but when you find a piece of on sale fillet, so yeah, this is the way to go.